Have you ever heard of a moment where someone's arrogance led them straight into the storm they created? Well, today's story is one you won't forget. It's about a woman, a royal guard, and a sacred symbol of honor, a bearskin hat. What started as an act of disrespect spiraled into a series of events no one could have imagined. Stick around, because this story is packed with twists, emotions, and an ending that will leave you thinking about respect in a whole new way. Let's dive in. It was a crisp autumn morning in London, and the iconic streets near Buckingham Palace were bustling with tourists. Among the crowd was Karen Myers, a middle-aged woman with a reputation for demanding her way. Karen was on vacation, but she carried her entitled attitude like luggage she refused to leave behind. Karen stood with her phone out, snapping pictures of the royal guards stationed in front of the palace gates. Their red coats, polished boots, and tall black bearskin hats symbolized centuries of tradition and pride. The guards stood stoically, unfazed by the crowd's chatter. But to Karen, they were just another photo op, something to amuse her. As Karen grew bored, she turned to her husband, Tom, a mild-mannered man who often avoided conflict. "Can you believe they just stand there like statues? What's the point of this?" she scoffed. Tom shrugged, knowing better than to argue. That's when Karen got an idea. She marched toward one of the guards, a young man named Will Harris. Will was in his early 20s, a proud and disciplined recruit who took his duty seriously. His family, especially his father, a retired soldier, had instilled in him the importance of serving his country. Karen smirked as she waved her hand in front of Will's face. "Do you even blink? Hello? Are you alive in there?" she taunted. The crowd murmured, and some even chuckled nervously, but Will didn't flinch. He had been trained for moments like this. Karen, however, wasn't done. "Oh, come on, you're not even going to move? Fine, let's see how much you care about this ridiculous hat." Before anyone could stop her, Karen reached up, yanked the iconic bearskin hat off Will's head, and threw it on the ground. The crowd gasped in shock. Will's heart pounded, but he stayed rooted, his training taking over. Karen wasn't finished. She stomped on the hat, grinding it into the pavement with a smirk. "There, now maybe you'll react," she sneered. What Karen didn't know was that the bearskin hat wasn't just part of a uniform. It was a symbol of honor and history. Each one was crafted with care, representing centuries of tradition. To the guards, it was more than an accessory. It was sacred. As Karen's actions drew gasps and whispers from the crowd, a man stepped forward. He was tall, dressed in a sharp suit, and carried an air of authority. His name was Major Charles Whitmore, the commanding officer of the Royal Guards. "Madam," he said firmly, his voice cutting through the murmurs, "do you have any idea what you've just done?" Karen crossed her arms defiantly. "Oh, please, it's just a hat. Maybe your little statue boy should lighten up." Major Whitmore's expression hardened. "That hat represents the honor of every soldier who has served this country. Your actions are not just disrespectful, they are an insult to this nation." Karen rolled her eyes. "Oh, spare me the lecture. It's just a silly tradition." But the major wasn't done. He turned to the crowd and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a breach of decorum. This is a crime." The crowd murmured louder as Karen's smirk faded. "A crime? For stepping on a hat?" she scoffed nervously. Major Whitmore explained that damaging the uniform of a royal guard was considered an act of vandalism and disrespect toward the crown. Within moments, police arrived, and Karen was detained. Much to her shock, "You can't arrest me for this. It's just a stupid hat," she protested as she was led away. Tom, looking mortified, tried to apologize on her behalf, but the damage was done. The incident quickly made headlines, with videos of Karen's actions going viral. She was dubbed the disrespectful tourist and became the target of online outrage. Karen's vacation turned into a nightmare as she faced legal consequences, public humiliation, and a hefty fine. But this was only the beginning of her reckoning. Weeks later, Karen received a letter from Will Harris. She opened it reluctantly, expecting more scorn. Instead, it was a heartfelt message. "Dear Mrs. Myers, I wanted to share something with you. My father served in the military for over 30 years. When I joined the Royal Guards, he told me that wearing the bearskin hat was not just an honor, but a responsibility. That hat represents every soldier who has fought and sacrificed for our freedom. When you disrespected it, it hurt more than just me. It hurt the memory of my father, who passed away last year. I hope you can understand the weight of your actions, but I also believe in forgiveness. Perhaps this moment can teach us all something about respect. Karen was stunned. For the first time, she felt the weight of her actions, not just as a public embarrassment, but as a personal affront to someone's legacy. Karen eventually issued a public apology, acknowledging her arrogance and pledging to learn from her mistake. She even visited a military charity to volunteer, hoping to make amends. As for Will, he continued to serve with pride, his story inspiring others to honor traditions and the people who uphold them. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.